Let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something a little different and honestly incredibly fun. We're going to map out the entire chronological evolution of the Elizabethan sonnet, but we're doing it through an interactive 10-question exam review. We'll walk through 10 essential questions in order. I'm going to read each question, list your options, give you a quick second to lock in your guess, and then reveal the right answer and briefly explain exactly why it matters. So get ready to test your knowledge. Okay, let's look at the agenda for our journey today. First up, Italian origins. Then, the English adaptation. Third, the sequence craze. And finally, Shakespeare and his contemporaries.
All right, Section 1, Italian origins. To truly understand the Elizabethan sonnet, we actually have to start way before Queen Elizabeth was even born. We're talking 13th century Italy here. So, question 1. Who is credited with originally introducing the sonnet form in Italy? Options: A. Petrarch, B. Dante, C. Boccaccio, or D. Wyatt. Lock in your answer, and the correct choice is B. Dante. Now, this is a bit of a trick question, right? Because Petrarch is the name everyone associates with the form. I mean, the traditional format is literally called the Petrarchan sonnet, but it was actually Dante who first introduced it to the world. Petrarch just kind of made it go viral.
Moving right along to question 2, which poet was the first to write sonnets in English and fully followed the Petrarchan form? Was it A, the Earl of Surrey, B, William Shakespeare, C, Sir Thomas Wyatt, or D, Edmund Spenser? Think about it for a second. The winner is C, Sir Thomas Wyatt. Both Wyatt and Surrey really put the form on the map in England, but the crucial detail here is that Wyatt strictly adhered to that original Italian Petrarchan model. By translating Petrarch directly and writing his own in that exact same style, Wyatt literally became the very first person to write sonnets in the English language.
So what exactly did Wyatt's Italian structure look like? That brings us to question 3. The Italian, or Petrarchan sonnet, is divided into which two parts? Here are your choices. A. 3 quatrains and a couplet. B. An octave and a sestet. C. 2 quatrains and 2 tercets. Or D. 14 individual lines with no break. Take a second to lock in your guess. This is absolutely crucial. It's the structural foundation for everything else we're going to cover today.
And the answer is B, an octave and a sestet. The 14-line Italian form breaks down its internal logic into an initial 8-line section, that's the octave, followed by a 6-line section, the sestet. But the big takeaway here is that these two parts aren't just mashed together. They're actually separated by a distinct pause or a shift in thought known as a caesura. Usually the octave presents a problem or a question, the caesura provides the turn, and the sestet offers the resolution. It's just a brilliant piece of poetic engineering.
Moving right into Section 2, the English adaptation.
The English absolutely loved the sonnet, but how did they make it work for their own language? Here's question 4. Who modified the sonnet structure from the Italian 8+6 format to the English 12+2 format? Was it A, Sir Philip Sidney, B, William Shakespeare, C, Edmund Spenser, or D, the Earl of Surrey? If you've been following the clues so far, you probably guessed D, the Earl of Surrey. You see, English simply has far fewer rhyming words than Italian, so that original form was insanely difficult to replicate. Surrey brilliantly changed the internal math. Instead of an octave and sestet, he divided the 14 lines into 3 quatrains, so 3 blocks of 4 lines, followed by a punchy, concluding 2-line couplet. That 12+2 structure gave poets way more rhyming flexibility and quickly became the definitive English standard. So how did the public actually get their hands on these newly structured poems? Let's hit question 5. What is the name of the 1557 collection where the poems of Wyatt and Surrey were published? A. Astrophil and Stella, B. Toddle's Miscellany, C. Amoretti, or D. The Fairy Queen? The correct choice is B. Toddle's Miscellany. This was a massive milestone in literary history. This 1557 collection, which was originally titled Songs and Sonnets, is where Wyatt and Surrey's groundbreaking works were finally published together. It was a total smash hit. Practically overnight, it kicked off the entire sonnet craze in England.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the sequence craze.
And when we say craze, we mean a full-blown cultural obsession. Elizabethan writers weren't just casually dropping 1 or 2 of these poems, they were going all in on massive interconnected collections. That brings us to question 6. What term is used to describe a series of sonnets addressed to a single lady? Is it A, a lyric cycle, B, a Petrarchian ode, C, a sonnet sequence, or D, a quatrain collection? Read through those options and pick your answer.
The correct answer is C, a sonnet sequence. This became the absolute standard practice during the Elizabethan period. Poets would write dozens, sometimes hundreds of sonnets, all revolving around their passionate and usually unrequited love for one specific idealized lady. They literally chained these individual 14-line poems together into a sequence to tell a much larger, ongoing emotional narrative.
Let's look at a super famous example for question 7. Sir Philip Sidney's sonnet sequence Astrophil and Stella is addressed to which lady? A. Elizabeth Boyle, B. Laura, C. Penelope, or D. the Dark Lady? Lock it in. The correct choice is C. Penelope. Sir Philip Sidney, who was basically considered the perfect model of an Elizabethan gentleman and poet, dedicated this massive sequence to his lady love Penelope. And take a look at that staggering number, 108. He wrote 108 individual sonnets just to express his feelings for her. That perfectly captures the sheer volume and dedication of this sequence craze.
All right, let's look at another giant of the era with question 8. Which rhyme scheme did Edmund Spenser use for his sequence, I'm Already? We've got 4 very complex-looking options here. Is it A, AB, C, D, C, D, C, D, B, AB, C, D, C, D, EF, G, G, C, AB, BC, BC, CD, CD, EE, or D, AAB, CCDD, EEFF, GG? Okay, the correct answer is C. Spenser followed the English pattern of 3 quatrains and a couplet, but he utilized a highly unique interlocking rhyme scheme. Notice how the B rhyme from the end of the first quatrain becomes the start of the second. Then the C rhyme from the second links to the third. It acts like a poetic chain, weaving the stanzas tightly together. It is incredibly difficult to pull off, and he executed it brilliantly.
And now, Section 4, Shakespeare and his contemporaries.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is that we're looking at the absolute grandmasters who took all these previous innovations and perfected the form. Let's start with a famous contemporary in question 9. Michael Drayton is specifically noted for which famous sonnet? Your options are A, Since There's No Help, B, Delia, C, Epithalamion, or D, Astrophil. The answer is A, Since There's No Help. Drayton actually wrote an entire sonnet sequence titled Idea, but out of all of them, this specific individual sonnet is his most famous masterpiece. What makes it so amazing is how freely his inspiration seems to flow. It doesn't feel rigid at all. It literally reads like a natural dramatic breakup conversation happening right in front of you.
And finally, question 10, the climax of our explainer, the man whose name is practically synonymous with the English sonnet. Shakespeare's 154 sonnets are primarily addressed to which 2 figures? Are they A, Laura and Penelope, B, Elizabeth Boyle and Penelope, C, W.H. and the Dark Lady, or D, Dante and Petrarch? Take a moment. If you know your literary history, you've definitely got this one locked in.
The correct answer is C, W.H. and the Dark Lady, 154. While other poets were writing dozens, Shakespeare wrote an unbelievable 154 masterful sonnets. And unlike the traditional sequence addressed to a single, idealized woman, Shakespeare broke his into 2 major, very mysterious sequences. The first massive chunk is addressed to an unidentified young man referred to only as W.H., and the later, deeply passionate and frankly tumultuous series is addressed to a figure we know only as the Dark Lady.
Which leaves us with a final, provocative thought. How did Shakespeare's mysterious Dark Lady sequence forever change the rules of traditional idealized love poetry? You see, for decades, from Petrarch's Laura to Sidney's Penelope, poets had been writing exclusively about pure, angelic, unattainably perfect women. And then Shakespeare comes along. He writes about a real, physically flawed, complex, and frustratingly captivating woman. By doing so, he entirely shattered the typical Petrarchan ideals that started this whole movement centuries earlier in Italy. He took a rigid 14-line format, played with the structure, and injected raw, messy human reality straight into it. It's just an incredible full-circle evolution to ponder. Well, I hope this interactive exam review explainer helps solidify these concepts for you. Keep analyzing, keep reading, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.